Tomorrow, the president will unveil his proposals for police reform. This comes on the heels of 3 weeks of unrest over racial injustice and another police killing involving a black man, this one in Atlanta. Rashard Brooks took an officer's taser and ran. He was shot in the back. CBS News reports the executive order will do 3 things: establish a national certification system for law enforcement agencies, create a database to track police misconduct, and add more mental health professionals to law enforcement agencies. Meantime, a city council member has a plan for reform of his own here in Cincinnati. Walter Smith Randolph breaks down the 8-point plan and shows us why the head of the police union is saying no way.
Cincinnati City Council member Jeff Pastor says after attending several protests in the past few weeks, now is the time for action.
I'm personally tired of people on both sides of this issue talking at each other. It is time to stop that. We are adults. We are Americans. This country was founded on compromise.
The Republican introduced this 8-point motion today calling for police reform and accountability. It would make police misconduct records public, ban hiring previously fired officers, and require CPD to report every stop, search, arrest, and use of force.
These are common sense issues, right? And it has nothing to do with Democrat, Republican, has nothing to do with being a bootlicker. It has everything to do with being human. These are human lives at stake on both sides of the issue.
Hils, president of Cincinnati's Fraternal Order of Police, says Cincinnati is already doing some of what Pastor is asking.
A whole lot of it's based around transparency. We are as transparent as you can imagine. Talked about stops and recording these things. We do all that already.
But Hils says Pastor's call for police union contracts to abstain from having language affecting misconduct investigations and discipline is a deal breaker.
We defend members from unfair discipline, and there is often discipline of police officers that is not justified. It's not right.
Councilmember Pastor's motion also calls for a city charter amendment to fully fund the Citizens Complaint Authority. While the CCA is expected to get a big funding boost this year, that hasn't always been the case.
I am all in favor of any support that we have a strong Citizens Complaint Authority because that gives a little more transparency to the police force and to the investigative process. And it gives, more accountability.
And we're going to make sure that what happened in Minneapolis and what happened in Atlanta and what happened in New Orleans and what happened in Sacramento is not going to happen here in the city of Cincinnati.
At City Hall, Walter Smith Randolph, Local 12 News.
Councilman Pastor introduced his motion to the Budget and Finance Committee. He says he has support from other council members.